Good morning, everyone. Today is 23rd of August, 2025. This is a Master of Entrepreneurship, MGM5120, Strategy, Human Resource Management, and Organization Behavior module. And the topic of our discussion is on what we call human resource training. And also, as we discussed the other day, we call it shortly as training and development. Okay, so this is our second meeting. Our first meeting we had on 20th, the other day, a couple of days ago in the university itself. And we explored some of the needs and also some of the discussions about the topic. So if you are ready for today, let's start by asking you these questions, okay? So first thing first, how many of you had your breakfast? All right. Just voice it out and say yes. How many of you had a breakfast? Okay. Okay. Say answer. Okay. Talk to me and whatnot. Y'all had breakfast? I'm still trying to figure it out how to enable the chat, yeah? Because this looks like on my side, everything is okay, but something is wrong there. Can anyone try again? I'm trying now. The chat box. Okay. It looks okay.
No, we can't use.
Still cannot use, yeah?
Then,
Okay. It is very responsible for the, what do you call, the lecturer. I think she disabled it, okay? Everyone. Okay. So right now, can you try now?
okay.
Okay, all right. No wonder. Okay. Okay, go ahead and had your breakfast. Okay, just type yes, no. All right. All right. Good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Because we also heard about, the importance of, Alia says no chat, right? The importance of, Shahira said yes. The importance of having breakfast. You heard about this. I'm going to introduce to you an important topic here, right? Because when somebody said that uh, breakfast is the most important meal of the day, you heard this many times before. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Since young, we were told that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. So my question to you is that, is it really breakfast is the most important meal of the day? That's the question. This is what we talk about, the paradigm shifting. Who told you breakfast is the most important meal of the day? For some people, yes, breakfast is the important meal of the day, simply because of their physical condition or they need the fuel, they need the energy. But not for everyone. Our ancestors, when we started, we are talking about millions of years ago, thousands of years ago, our ancestors had one meal in 2 or 3 days' time. They never had a luxury of a breakfast, luxury of a dinner. They eat only when it's available and maybe about 2 or 3 times a week. That's it. And you perform very well when you are at the peak of hunger, not when your peak with your stomach is full. Remember, after lunch, what happened? After lunch, whenever you go, all right, you always feel sleepy. The reason is because when you consume a lot of meal, particularly carbs, now your brain will send all the blood to your stomach to process the food. So when every of or the excess of the blood goes to your stomach to process the food, so that means there's not enough blood that reaching out your head. So when there's not enough blood reaching out your head, that means your brain is not getting enough oxygen. Blood carry oxygen. So that is why you become sleepy after lunch, because your brain is busy digesting the food and the blood goes there, oxygen goes there. That's it. So next time, try it out. If there is any work to be done, any important meeting to be done and everything, you go into the meeting without having your lunch. You'll perform better. So that's an idea. What if I say the breakfast is the most important meal of the day is actually a myth? You see, what happened is that the breakfast is the most important meal of the day was a marketing slogan by Kellogg. It was a marketing slogan for Kellogg. They came out with this just to influence the parents to give the breakfast to the children by buying this. A lot of study shows cereal with a lot of sugar is probably the worst breakfast that we can give it to your children because it's contained sugar and they become addicted to sugar. And 15, 20 years later, they will develop arterial blocks, the blocks in the heart, because of the, what you call, bad choice of breakfast. So if any one of you taking cereal for your breakfast, stop it now. If any one of you giving cereal to the children, if you're married, stop it now, because it was just a marketing slogan to sell. You see, this is the slogan goes. It's a newspaper article. It's not a scientific data. It's a newspaper article. It says that yet in many ways, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. You see, it's not, okay, a scientific article. So this is again a new perspective paradigm shift. So what is the alternative? So people like me, I think probably some of you are already in that, or maybe you know someone who's actually doing intermittent fasting. Give it a chance. Give it a chance. So that means you have a proper eating windows and also fasting windows. Fasting is not a difficult thing to do. We are all born fasting. Every day we fast, probably after dinner and when we wake up. That is actually our fasting moment. So under the intermittent fasting, the fasting moment will be expanded. That's all. Okay, so give it a try. Like me, I fast 5 days a week. Okay, Monday to Friday, I don't take my breakfast. So I wait until my late lunch, and the benefits are tremendous if you try for fasting as well as the intermittent fasting. The benefits are mind-blowing. You're talking about increased insulin sensitivity, fat loss, autopilot calorie reduction, upregulate autophagy, lower blood sugar, reduce inflammation, lower blood pressure, lower triglyceride, increased growth hormone. You can go on and on with that benefit. So try it out, intermittent fasting. Try to skip your breakfast if your stomach can take it, yeah. Okay. The benefits of the intermittent fasting.
What are the benefits of intermittent fasting? Intermittent fasting has been associated with many health benefits, including weight loss. It can also improve insulin sensitivity and lower blood sugar levels, especially in people with type 2 diabetes. I've seen many patients who actually reverse their type 2 diabetes with intermittent fasting. It also has been shown to reduce inflammation in the body, which in turn reduces the risk of many chronic diseases, such as heart disease, some types of cancer, dementia, and more. There's many people who report having better mental clarity, meaning improved cognitive function, and even improvement in many mental health conditions such as ADHD, depression, and anxiety. It's also been linked to a reduced risk of neurodegenerative diseases such as Parkinson's disease and Alzheimer's disease.
See, the benefits are tremendous, yeah. So give it a try if you can take it, particularly if your health is good enough conditions, and why not you explore this, yeah. But people also ask me, so if you're not taking your breakfast, where do you get your energy from? Don't you feel get tired? Okay. But people who knows me and also in my circle, my friends and everything, we actually perform at the peak level throughout the day. Our battery is always full. Our battery never get low. Okay. For instance, today we are done. Tomorrow is going to be a family day. Then after that, Monday, Tuesday, I'll be in one place in Bangsa South. Then on Wednesday, Thursday, I'll be in PJ. Then Friday, I will be in what you call Kajang. So even the 5 days will be there, and also the following week. Then after that, I'll be going to Paris. So traveling, whatnot. What give us that energy? Allow me to introduce this bulletproof coffee. That's another concept, yeah. Bulletproof coffee is going to be a game changer for you. It is a drink that people with a lot of demands for the energy throughout the day, we consume. So what is this bulletproof coffee? So we are combining of 3 or more items in our bulletproof coffee. For instance, me, I make bulletproof coffee this morning. Okay. It's very cheap. Very cheap. The machine is only about 200 ringgit. Then you buy this Nescafe. I'm not promoting anybody, but I'm just buying this Nescafe. Each one costs you only about 80 cents. Okay. So the 1 month supplies cost me about $22. Yeah. Okay, that's it. One capsule. You can consume it as a black coffee by itself, but you know what I'll do? I mix it with coconut oil. So you go and type bulletproof coffee. Yeah, you go and type bulletproof coffee and do some research. So I mix it with the coconut oil. Then I mix it with a pure Irish butter, grass-fed butter. Then also a little bit of cinnamon. Okay. Then what you do? You blender it. Okay. Then once you blender it, and your bulletproof coffee is ready to consume. With that, you'll have that energy for rest of your day. Okay, all of you are young enough to take this journey to get the best out of your life, and your best life start in the morning. So learn how to skip breakfast, extend your fast until probably lunchtime, or like me, I take my first meal at 4 p.m. Okay, so you can extend the break and you'll enjoy the tremendous benefit of fasting. Just to replace some of the meal, then you can try bulletproof coffee, which is again, all right, low in calories, so it's not going to disturb your fasting, yeah, and you'll have a full of energy. Okay, that's the idea about how to get the best out of your life. All right, people, let's get going. For today's discussion is going to be on training and development. So what's next? Okay. We discussed about what is human resource management in the other day. Then some of you gave me a brilliant what do you call idea after you search. Then also we talked about the importance of competitive advantage for organizations, how organization and why organization should be focusing on the competitive advantage. Then our discussion also, how could companies achieve and maintain competitive advantage, sustainable competitive advantage through human resource management. So we also discuss about that, the ideas about probably about recruiting the right talent and also retaining the right talent, so on and so forth. So we ended the session, how could you identify your competitive advantage? And of course, not all of you, but most of you have already submitted your assignment on how you could achieve and maintain a sustainable competitive advantage by being the purple cow. Okay, so this is what we concluded the other day. Just is to refresh your memory. This has always been my style to do so. Okay, so what about today? So what are we going to do today? So today is all about human resource training, about training and development. Let's focus on the topic. So what is human resource management? Okay, so as the discussion goes the other day, it's about almost some of the core functions of human resource management. I think Dr. Zuraina, Professor Zuraina already talked to you. We start with human resource planning. What is human resource planning? Human resource planning basically ensuring that enough number of people, okay, competent people, qualified people, available as per the business demands. That's it. Enough number of people. So it's always going to be supply and demand. How many people we need, how many people we have. It's going to be supply and demand. So ensuring that, okay, by forecasting, ensuring that by statistical calculation is the challenge. But again, it's not going to be possible to have the right number of people that we need. It's not possible. It is always going to be two scenarios. One is that we may have more employees than need. We call that the surplus. Or we may have a situation where we don't have enough number of people. So we call that as a shortage. So it's always finding the between shortage and the surplus, right? So the narrower the gap between demand and supply is hallmark of a good human resource manager. That means the human resource manager is doing a good job when he or she makes sure the demand of supply is almost the same. But as I mentioned, it's not going to be possible to have a zero gap. Not possible. It's going to be either between surplus and what they call shortage. Then let's say if there is a shortage. One of the strategy is recruitment and selections. So we call that as a talent acquisition, we call that. So this is another challenge. Well, how do we companies identify the right talent? How do we companies recruit them and also select them? I'm sure Zurain already done that, and you already do that for your assessment one. So now we got the recruitment is in place and we got the right people. Then we got to continuously to train them. This is where we are coming in this module right now. All right. So this is where the training and development coming in, which we will zoom in today. And after our session today, I'll give you the entire notes for your consumption for your case study. Okay. So training and development, we'll focus on that later. Then once we have got the place, the people, the right people in the right place, and they're performing. So we got to measure their performance. Okay. Whether or not they are fulfilling the minimum required standards. Then who else is excelling? So this performance management also comes with what you call as a performance appraisal. At the end of the year, we're going to appraise their performance, right? So now once we have got that in place, we talked about compensation and benefit. How these people will be compensated and paid accordingly. For instance, that is the right thing to do. Second is to retain them. People, no one will work for free, but to retain them. So that is going to be the key. And also we're going to talk about other employee relations, if there is a union to deal with, or also if there is a sexual harassment in place, all right, the code and whatnot. So all these will be on employee relation part. See the diagram here clearly shows, okay, there are no one single thing can stand alone, as you can see. Okay, there is nothing. So all are interconnected. That is why we call this a strategic human resource management. So this module is defined by this picture. This is why otherwise it's called human resource management. So when you call strategic human resource management, the purpose is to ensure all these functions are interconnected. So you cannot have training and development today, okay, if you didn't recruit properly. Okay, so you cannot have compensation as benefit unless your performance management is in the right place. So what about this, the connection with the human resource planning? So the diagram, I want you all to take note of the diagram. The diagram clearly shows that interconnectivity between all the HR functions. And that's what this module is called strategic human resource management. Okay, I hope you got that one right. So what are the ultimate HR challenges? And we are summing up before we zoom into training and development. So there are three main ways that we can look at what is human resource management and what are the ultimate challenge and also responsibility of human resource management. It goes like this. Number one, how to identify, recruit, and select the talented and potentially right employees. So you remember I talked about the word select, recruit and select. They are two different functions. And also talented, yes, because we can identify the talent during that interview process. But we cannot select the right employees because there is no such thing as the right employee. It's all potential. Like if you are in love, there's no such thing as a right wife or right husband. All you can say is that they are potentially right husband, potentially right wife. You only get to know whether they're right or not after they join you, after you married to them, right? So that's what he said, the potential right employee. But this takes a very stringent process of recruitment selection. That's what HR do. I believe that Ryan already done that. The second part is that how to manage, train, and develop them to perform to their full potential. So you see, during that interview, you get to know them. However, whether or not they're going to perform exactly how they did during the interview is not in your hand. So that is where the continuous learning must come place. So you got to manage their performance, then you have to train them, and you have to develop them so that they can give their best to full potential. Because during the interview, you identify the potential, and potential alone is not enough. We want to turn the potential into performance. So how HR going to do? And this is where the training comes in. This is where today's module comes in. And number 3, now they're already performing well, because they are the best employees, they also can leave us. So this is where last week we talked about how to retain them, okay, how to compensate them, how to pay them enough, pay them well compared to the market price, and pay them accordingly, and engage them. Engage them means make them feel that they are wanted, they are needed, they feel excited coming to work, and eventually retain them for a longer period of time. I'm not saying that you have to retain them forever. It's not going to happen. All right. In very rare cases that some people will stay with you, but generally they will leave after a certain period of time. And I don't see that as a negative thing. But the HR challenge is to make sure that they stay with us as long as possible. See, these are the 3 HR challenges. But our focus here today is how to manage them and how to train them and how to develop them so that they will give their best to the company. Okay? That is the introduction to the core of the module today. Okay, let's start by talking about this. So switch on your microphone, and if you want to switch on your cameras, and why not, no problem. Okay, so let's discuss about this. Okay, also you can use your chat box if you want to. And basically we are talking about this question: why people are not performing in organizations? Why do you think so? Please go ahead, participate. I'm not here to come and talk for 3 hours. We also will have a breakout room session and the videos later. So go ahead, unmute yourself, and share your thoughts. Why people are not performing in the organizations? Go ahead, people. Share your thoughts. Okay, Alia, thank you very much. The working environment, yeah, I think spot on. Straight away, the working environment is, I would definitely agree with that one. Okay, and what about the rest? Go ahead and tell people. Come on. Only one so far. Why people are not performing in the workplace? Okay. Shahira was saying that lack of support and capabilities. This is 2 very crucial, answers. Let me go into the capabilities, all right? So people unable to perform because they are lack of capabilities. Second, maybe they're capable, but they are not being supported enough. So these 2 definitely 2 separate things, but equally strong point. Is there any other reason that you all can think of? So far, I do see only 2 people are participating. Okay, participate, people. We are having this class, not for myself, okay? It's for you as well, right? So that will be really, really good. Zilin, insufficient skills. I spot on, Zilin. That's definitely one of the core reasons why people are not performing, okay? So thank you for so much for Alia, Zaira, and also Zilin for contributing. And I sum up why people are not performing in the workplace in a 3 broader scope. There are thousands of reasons, yeah, but I have got these 3 broader scope why people are not performing. Number 1, okay, and this is where what Zilin and also Zaira was saying. It's about capabilities and skills, right? So how do we know? They do not know how and when to perform. They do not know how to perform. So we call that as a skill problem. Definitely, it is a skill problem. Can training help? I believe so. Then the second reason is that they are not motivated and don't want to perform. You see, this is different. They can perform. Somehow they don't want to perform. They choose not to perform. So we call that as a attitudinal or motivational problem. Can training help? I believe so. Okay, that's what I have. I run programs called the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and also so on and so forth. Then the third one is that they are prevented, okay, by the organization environment. I think this is clearly mentioned by Alia earlier, all right? So it is the environmental factor. So that means maybe they don't have the enough resources. Maybe the bosses are not giving them a chance to grow and whatnot. So those are the broader reasons. And for three of you, I think Alia, Zaira, as well as Zilin, you all concluded that very well with your input. Yes, these are the problems. So now the question is that, can these three assisted by training? Okay, so personally, I believe number one and number two is definitely possible. I'm in the field of training. Number three, I'm not sure whether training can help, or unless training can help their bosses. Okay, if there were bosses who are not good with delegation, so by that boss attend training how to delegate their job properly, so that he or she can grow the employees in his or her department. So training can help. But to change the environment by itself, it is, I won't say beyond the scope of training, but it is not the scope of training. So what is this training and development? So we talked about this training, right? So what is this training and development? So why we are talking about it? Is it training as the solution to all? Not necessarily. Before we go into the content of training and development, we have to look into this diagram. It's a clear, simple diagram. First of all, like what we discussed, why people are not performing. So it's identified the performance gap of an employee. Someone is not performing, right? And immediately we go to the next step. The step is whether or not this performance gap, why he or she is not performing, can be closed by training. You have to ask that question. Is it a training solution, or is it a non-training solution? So if it is training solution, then we go into identify the training area that is needed to close the performance gap. What is the training area that we need, which we will discuss today. Then we are talking about if it is not non-training related, like earlier we mentioned about that. Alia mentioned about this non-training in the environment. So then we are not going to focus on training. So to select whether training is a solution or not, we must identify whether the training can solve the problem. Otherwise, we are wasting time, wasting resources, wasting the trainee's time and company profit and whatnot. Okay, so this is the starting point. But the question is, hey, what about this? When we talk about training, there are so many things that are going on. There are something called education. What's the difference between education and training? So when we talk about training, we also always talk about development. And we also talk about coaching or sometimes mentoring. So what are the differences between these four, content when it comes about training and development? So can any one of you try to answer these, or quickly go ChatGPT, share with our chat box some of the differences? You just go into some, definition for each word, share with us in the chat box, and let's talk about this before I can give my very own perspective to that one. To differentiate, this is very important for us to start with this module, because people always confuse and overlap with this terminologies, where normally we interchangeably use and not necessarily correctly. So go ahead and share your thoughts. Do you have any understanding on the similarities and also the differences between education, training, development, and also coaching? Or sometimes they also talk about mentoring. Come on, go ahead, people. What do you think? The difference that you can think of? Share your thoughts on the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and share your thoughts through microphone. Come on. Okay, that's interesting. We'll give Alia. Thank you, Alia. You've been so wonderful. Okay, doing the work for us as well. Look at what Alia says. Very, very, her research shows education, according to Alia, it says that learning broad knowledge, okay, theories and concept, and often in the school and the universities. Yeah, definitely. That's what we go to school to learn about this. Training, whereas, according to Alia's research, is learning specific skills to perform a job or task effectively. Then obviously development will be a long-term growth to improve overall abilities. I think that's wonderful, straightforward, what do you call, answers for that. So I like the development, long-term growth to improve overall abilities, knowledge, and things. So the keyword here I can see, training is specific skills to perform a job, right? Development is what we call as long term, okay, and also turning the potential. Coaching, personalized guidance and support to help someone to improve performance or to reach goal. Okay, thank you, Alia. ChatGPT really can help quickly. I use that extensively as well, ChatGPT. Matter of fact, I don't know, just use ChatGPT. Just wanted to share with you all. See, these are all my LLM. So I have a ChatGPT, DeepSeek, Copilot, Google Assistant, Perplexity, Meta AI, Chat, okay, Friday AI, Chatbot AI. I use extensively this one earlier. Thank you very much for your what do you call contribution here, right? So let me give you the this is not ChatGPT answer, it's my answer. Okay, so education is like what you call Alia was saying, it's about theoretical understanding of a subject. Okay, it aims to provide a broad-based knowledge and develop critical thinking skills. So sometimes when we talk about education, it's all about critical thinking. Make students how to think critically, right? Then also the goal of education is to create a well-rounded individual with a wide range of knowledge and ability to learn independently. The goal is that we educate people so that they can learn by themselves after that. Okay, so that is the goal. Examples, okay, university degree, computer science, you know that, okay, you've seen that, or studying history or philosophy. These are the knowledge-based education. Whereas training, we are talking about concentrate and acquiring specific skills, Alia was saying earlier, right? Or knowledge for a particular task or job. It's a short term. Remember, it's a short term and also it's an immediate application. So training is something that you improve your performance in a specific area or role right now. So that means you attend training today, tomorrow you can improve your job better. Examples will be learning to use a new software program. So you attend a training, a half-day training, then tomorrow you can use the software immediately. So that's what it's called. It's a short-term, immediate, okay? How about how to operate certain machine? So you attend to a training today, maybe this afternoon you can use that machine to operate. So it's a short term, very specific. So in one of our institute where I was the former vice president, that is Institute of Human Resource Management. So we came out with a definition for training. So it goes like this. Training is a pre-planned and systematic process that is undertaken to provide intended participants the opportunities to acquire knowledge, develop skills, modify attitudes, and form habits so that the resultant behavior will lead to the achievement of the job standard and eventually give rise to the attainment of the corporate direction. I know it's a lengthy, what they call definition, but it's the right one. So let's decode the thing. It's called the pre-plan. So that means training cannot be done as and when you think you want to have a training. You must have some objective why you want to have the training. You must have the aim and you must have the purpose. You have to select the right people for the training. So that's what is called pre-plan and a systematic process. You know why you are conducting the training. You know what are the objectives that you want to achieve. You know that what the participant going to be. And you know that once the participant come back from training, what are the output and the outcomes that we can expect in 1, 2, 3 months or 1 or 2 years. So it's a systematic process, right? Intended participants mean the participants who really need the training, not any Tom, Dick, and Harry in the company. Okay. So why? Because they go there to acquire knowledge, develop skills, and change their attitude. Remember the attitude could be the second problem we discussed earlier. Ultimately, they develop a new form of habits. Remember, habit change you, not your thinking alone. Habit change you. So that the ultimate behavior in the workplace is something to assist the company to achieve the company goal, which is the what you call profit, for instance, or which is for some other benefit as the company wants. So here, training enhances the capabilities of an employee to perform his or her current job. So that is the training and development. All right. So what about this development then? So how it is different from the training? So development is actually, Alia pointed out earlier, it's a long-term, ongoing process that focuses on a growth and advancement. So it's a long-term, yeah. Okay, focus on growth and advancement. It aims to enhance overall capabilities and the potential. So development, like for instance, you are taking a Master of Entrepreneurship. It is a development program, not a training program. So it's prepared you for other, what you call, future cases, future growth. So that's what it's called, development. So in that sense, you really, really have to focus on your career advancement and whatnot. So the goal is to prepare individual for future roles and challenges. So future, yeah, the keyword is future role and challenges. Examples will be leadership development program and attending conferences, workshop that with a broader knowledge. Again, as I mentioned earlier, even you doing your master's is a development program. Okay. So what about our own definition of development? Okay. Development enhances the capabilities of an employee to be ready for the future jobs. Okay. So remember, we talked about that. A bank teller, okay, sends the teller by, if it's a bank teller, they are not attending training, but they go and learn about the growth in the financial emerging issues in finance and banking. So will it help them to do their job right now? No, but it will become helpful if and when they are being promoted to become the branch manager. Okay. Again, another thing is that a bank teller attending MBA program, will it help to perform their current job? No, but the MBA eventually will help them to grow into senior managerial positions or even a manager in branches. So for that, MBA will helpful. It won't help them to do their current job well. Then we are talking about coaching. Sometimes we also talk about mentoring, but let's focus on the coaching. So coaching is, it could be one-to-one, a small group process that help individuals to identify their strengths and weaknesses, set goals, and develop strategies to improvement. It's an ongoing conversational process between coachee and also the coach. Okay, the goal is to enhance performance, obviously, and also the coachee will develop the new skills and they will have a specific objective. So whenever I start my coaching with people, we know what are the skills that they must master, and we also know when they must achieve it towards their ultimate goal of, let's say, getting promotion. So examples of coaching: a sales manager coaching a team member on closing closing deals. Sometimes it also can become a mentoring program. An executive coach helping a leader to improve their communication skills. So, which is where professional titles that I carry is I'm an executive coach, meaning I coach the leaders. So we talk to them about how to improve their communication. So, folks, here it is, the 4 differences between the coaching, development, training, and education. That brings us to our next topic. What is the purpose of training? Okay, so remember we zoom in. Hit the chat box, people, again. Okay, not just Alia. Okay, everyone else. Just type what is in your words. It could be words. You don't have to use ChatGPT. If you want, you can, but you don't have to use ChatGPT. But what do you think? Why companies want to pursue training in the organization? What are the reasons? Type the reasons, people. Okay. Go ahead. Remember, otherwise I'll be talking throughout the day, and I don't have that intention to do so. What do you think is the purpose of the training? Okay, just put some words will do. It's an engagement for you and me. Okay, improve performance. Thank you, Alia. What about the rest? Okay, Zaira was talking about it. To perform tasks effectively. Absolutely correct. Okay, is there anyone else? Yes, Zaira, you are sending a private message to me, so you disable that one. You send me a message in the group, Zaira, because it's like all your answers are appearing as a private only. Okay, so they call let's go into for everyone. Okay, thank you. Who else? Come on, we have got about how many people here? We got about 18 people here. Then none of you, only 3 of you so far, Alia, Zahira. Yes, Zilin, thank you very much to develop skills. Obviously, that's very important. So what else we need training for? Okay. Is there anyone would like to talk about this? Okay. Very passive, yeah. Very passive Zoom. Otherwise, I would have choose to be face-to-face to have a replacement class. I thought you all going to participate more. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, enhance quality again. Aina, thank you, Aina. Improve knowledge. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Zining, okay. Comply with the legal industry. Yes, definitely. Because when the rules change or the government comes out with the new law, so we have to master that particular skill so that we don't violate the what do you call it, requirement. All right. So let's look into the purpose of training. And this is where I'm going to put you all in a Zoom breakout room. Okay. So try it out. Okay. It's very important. So what we're going to do, I'm going to put you all into breakout rooms. How many people that we have right now? Okay. We got 18 participants. So let's talk. You'll try, okay, you'll try. Yeah? So let's go into 4 groups. Okay, let's go into 5 groups. See, uh, I will actually do this automatically. Then I'll visit you all in your group. I want you all to participate and have a discussion. Okay, please do so. Otherwise, it's going to be, wasting our time, right? So I give you all 10 minutes. Okay, I give you 10 minutes. Okay. So what I want you all to discuss. Okay. What I want you all to discuss is very simple. Let's go into this topic. Okay. Take a snapshot of this topic. Okay. What are the training pain and pressure points when training is needed in organizations? So that's the thing. Okay. Take a snapshot, yeah, or take a photo or write it down somewhere, because I want you to discuss this in our breakout room for the next 10 minutes. Okay. So once your 10 minutes up, you can come back here. You can use your chat GPT and everything. So when you come back here, each group put that answer in the chat box. After 10 minutes, you come back and just type 1% representing 1%. Then you come here. Then you put that answer in our chat box representing. Okay, I'm going to open the rooms. Randomly selected. I didn't select. Randomly selected. Go to your chat box and have a discussions for this topic. What are the training, pain, and pressure points? Go ahead, people. Start now. The time already started. Go ahead. Please accept the invitations. Go. Okay. Zihong already there. Ziling already there. Zhang there. Alia there. Zhang Zining there. Okay, cool. Now you're participating. Thank you very much. Room 5, only Zahira. Okay. And we don't have things. Okay, Wang. Talk about the topic. Why? Okay. So I give you all 10 minutes. It's already 9 minutes right now. Okay. Just come out with at least 3 points. No one is in this room. I see participants, but no one is talking. Interesting, right?
I think the first one is the resource and budget.
Thank you, Zihong.
Hi, Doctor.
Hi, Alia.
Hello.
So quiet, Alia.
Yeah.
Please talk. Y'all, after so many years, you all know how to use the breakout rooms and also discussion, right? Participate, talk, because otherwise I'll be talking throughout the time.
Yeah. So just now we just talk about like Wang Yangdong just said like lack of budget. So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, so if we don't have any budget, so there will not enough tools for the training.
True.
Yeah.
Particularly when during the economic crisis, the first budget they will slash will be training budget. Yeah.
Oh, right.
The
They
first
don't see that is relevant or
is
something.
they don't see it as an investment. They do, training always seen as an expenditure. Okay, so unfortunately, no.
Yeah.
Okay. See you later in the main room.
Okay.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye, Doctor.
就是直接发群里。
这是要
这谁啊？是老师吗？
你说这谁呀？
是谁啊？我靠！
不是，你说这谁啊？这老师啊。
老师 is here. 老师 is here. 老师 go around every room and check whether you'll do work or not. Don't worry, don't worry. I just come here. Joel, if you find any answer, just put it in our chat box here. Okay. Then we can discuss there as a main group.
Okay.
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 Bye-bye. Wow, this room quiet. Zaira, you alone?
Yes.
No, okay. Zaira didn't join you? Okay, then in a while I'll see you all in the main room, yeah? Okay.
Actually, I already shared my point before this.
Okay, no worries. You
Yeah.
just put it in our chat box, yeah, Zaira?
Okay.
Okay, I'll see you all there in the main room. Okay, switch on your cameras. Let's talk about this. Come on, people. Let's talk about the answers. So we are talking about training. Okay, come on, people. Switch on your cameras. Let's talk about this. If you can have your cameras, or also we can talk about that in our chat box before we go for a quick small break. All right. So we talked about the pressure point, okay, of training. Okay, so we talked about Zealing mentioned about misaligned work. Okay, basically we're talking about the work is not the demand of the work. Okay, sometimes we just learn about the theory, and also sometimes after the completing training, employees found that they were unable to apply what they think. So that's the difference between learning just the theory and also the application, right? So now it's going to cause a problem in the workplace, it says, which is very true. So the next one, the name is in Chinese, so I cannot understand. But a lot of responses from probably GPT, very nice. So it's a information overload. Okay, so learners often face too much of content, too little time. Okay, and this is really happen training. I've seen this, that we learn so many things with a short period of time, but unable to apply it in the workplace. Lack of relevance. So sometimes what they learn is not applicable in the workplace. So that's also an issue for that. Technology barriers. Online and digital training requires stable platform and digital skills. Okay, not all learners have equal access to lead frustration. This is very important. You see, even me, I'm a university lecturer, but I do not rely on UPM Zoom. I actually pay my own money every year, close to 200 USD, to have my own Zoom, what do you call, channel. So the one that I send you all is not UPM one, it's mine. But we cannot expect that our participants to have similar facilities as well sometimes, okay? So technology barriers is something that definitely we must focus on. Motivation engagement, okay? Long and monotonous sessions, or you drag on. Also a problem. That's what I've been telling since morning. I don't want to talk forever to bore you all, right? So I want to have an engagement, chat engagement, breakout sessions, and also later we're going to watch a video and whatnot. And also time constraint. Okay, wonderful input, okay, from these particular students. I cannot read the name, it's in Chinese. Zahira was saying, Zahira, thank you, Zahira, for recognizing their input. Alia was saying that budget and time constraint are, again, some of the key. So, what actually the main problem here then? Okay, let's talk about what is the purpose of training. Let's talk about this right now through the, what do you call, discussion. So all this I'll give you, yeah. Bridging the skills gap, okay. We basically, what is expected you to perform, the participants do not have that skills. That's one pressure point. Productivity, they can do better, but they are not doing it. So we have to increase productivity. Number 3, increasing employee engagement and job satisfaction. The employee is not happy coming to work. Okay, so job satisfaction is low, employee engagement is low. So we can improve through training. Enhancing innovations and creativity. There's another key point here. Innovation and creativity. And of course, the next one is ensuring business continuity and competitiveness. If you are not improved, the company will go down, right? And also the company cannot compete with the other competitors. Number 6 will be meeting compliance and regulatory requirement. We talked about that earlier. Okay, one of you mentioned about this. But we need to have this continuous updating on how to do what to do, because otherwise we may violate the rules that we have legal there, legal part of it. Number 7 is improving customer satisfaction experience. So ultimately, if you focus on employee, if the employees are happy, they will focus on the customers. And the customers, when they're happy, they will keep coming back. So yes, taking care of the customers is important, but what is more important is that taking care of the employees or taking care of the customers. So for that, training is definitely needed here. Number 8 is empowering leadership and succession planning. So by training, we can ensure that the right people, they started to, be trained to become the future leaders. So we call this a succession planning. And number 9 is embracing digital transformations. Again, next week I'm going to do a program on digital transformation. And this is the key. Digital transformation is basically to make sure that we are moving into the era of AI. Is the organization ready? And people must be trained into that area. And fostering an adaptive, resilient workforce. So now the workforce, remember the innovative and creativity, that's one comes in here. Okay, And the employees are ready for the future work trends. Like many of you already go into Zoom-based learning. Last time, Zoom-based work. So we don't know. Next time, everybody will be working with the AI bots. Okay, they will be working on AI assistants, AI agents. So these are some of the future plan. But let's focus our last discussion before our break. We are talking about what is the actual purpose of the training. Enjoy this video. Purpose of the training.
Training and development of employees is crucial for improving performance and productivity. I'll talk about that in today's video.
Okay, type yes, one of you, if the video is clear. Is the audio is there? Just type yes, no, just now. Okay, thank you. Let's go on. Hold on, I play again. It's hang. Okay, just hold on, yeah. Thank you for the response. This is again technology, right? It's hanged. Let me restart. Okay, share. Hold on, yeah. PowerPoint hang.
Training and development of employees is crucial for improving performance and productivity. I'll talk about that in today's video. Hello, I'm Stephen Goldberg of Optimus Performance, and we work with business owners and leaders to develop highly self-motivated and productive employees and salespeople. Please subscribe to our channel to get news of new videos as they come out. More than ever in today's work environment, it's extremely important that we train and develop our workforce. And that includes yourself as a leader or a manager, business owner. We all have unlimited potential. So that's a great opportunity. If we don't use it, it just gets wasted. So let's tap into it. Now, as leaders, business owners, we need to take a proactive approach to training and developing our employees, not reactive. Reactive means that we train when there's an emergency or we're forced to. For example, if we put in a new system or if we want somebody to learn a new software or if they're a new employee. So thinking it through, making a plan, a good place to start are based on your annual goals and objectives for your organization and for your department. And starting from that point, you have a good plan and vision, and you could see, well, if this is going to happen, what does the workforce need to do? What do they need to learn? What do they need to adapt to? So you start asking a lot of questions and formulating a training plan that is proactive. When looking at skills to develop, also we want to look at both hard and soft skills. Now, hard skills are those that are required to perform a task. For example, operating a software or operating a machine, things of that nature, very specific to the job tasks. Where, of course, soft skills are important as well, but they vary in different jobs. But these are skills that employees are required to manage themselves and how they communicate with others as well, how they behave, how they interact. And these are becoming more and more crucial, especially as we develop or want to develop more teamwork in organizations. because teamwork really requires people to be able to work together, to grow together, to solve problems together. And the more that they interact, the more that you allow them to make decisions, you delegate decision making, the more that the problems, the conflicts can arise. And this is where interpersonal skills or soft skills play a really crucial role. More and more, the marketplace is becoming competitive. So we could be competing globally, nationally, locally, but having a better developed workforce, a better trained workforce gives us that competitive advantage. One great example of companies that do invest a lot in training, and it shows, are the telephone or the telecommunications company. I know that when I have an issue with an account and I need to call the accounting department, and you wouldn't think that they're in sales, and they're really not, but they've been trained to sell. They've been trained to offer added services to whenever there's a contact with a client. So even though you're calling with a problem perhaps, or you need clarification, they're going to try and upsell you or add-on sell you. And this is a result of them being trained to do this type of activity and probably rewarded for it too. One other thing to consider is the aging population. And as people get older, you're going to have more people in the workforce because there's going to be a lack of younger skilled talent. So it's important that we are able to retain the older workforce and that we're able to also keep them flexible, because things keep changing and they need to keep learning as well. And so training and development is a way to keep people flexible, creative, engaged, interested in their work, and also less resistant to change. It's kind of like water. You know, if you leave a pool of water and you don't refresh it with new water, it becomes stagnant, it starts getting polluted, it starts to smell. Well, people are kind of like the same thing. We're meant to grow, we're meant to evolve, and if we're not doing that in the workplace where we spend a good part of our time, then we do become stagnant, we do become resistant to change, and that can really hurt an organization. So I encourage you to take a proactive approach to training. I'll have more on that in future videos on maybe steps to do that. I look forward to that. Thank you for listening. Please comment, subscribe to our channel, and see you again soon.
Okay, so the purpose of the training ultimately is simply because you want to improve the employee and organizational performance. Okay, I hope that video was very helpful for you. So that is the first part of the day. Okay, so we call that as, okay, a roti. The purpose of the training is roti. Roti is an Bahasa word. Yeah, it's also a universal word. So what is that? What does that mean? Roti means, okay, roti means return on training investment. This is where the proper planning of the function, training function, is very important. So when we come back from our break, we're going to go into a strategic approach to training. How we can actually design the training, and the 4 stages of the training we will go into after the break later. So let's take a 15 minutes break. Then I'll see you at 10:30. Okay, bye-bye for now, people. Welcome back, all. Thank you very much. Let's get going. So earlier, before the break, we discussed about the training pressure points. Okay, so that's what we discussed about it. So now we're going to go, okay, we all know the importance of training and pressure points and whatnot. So now the question is, okay, is there something called strategic approach to training? So what is that means? Why strategic approach is important? Okay, you see, managers focus on the training, on the firm goals and strategies, and orient the training accordingly. That means as a manager, you know where the company is going, you know what is expected of the performance of the employees and also the departments and whatnot. So whenever you come out with the training, you must align that why you're conducting the training towards that goal. You're not going to conduct training for any other reason except why you want to align them towards that particular goal. All right. So managers should realize that we must know this. Not all of firm's strategic initiative are accomplished with training. So not everything what the company want to achieve, you can achieve it through the training. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. You must know that. And of course, not all training programs are strategic imperative for the firm. So in other words, is that not every training must be connected to the strategy. So it is going to be very, very important for managers to know why they are conducting this training. So what is this strategic approach towards training? A quick 3 minutes video.
Recognizing that learning is part of all employees' responsibilities, both managers and peers, along with training professionals, are actively involved in helping other employees gain new skills and perspectives. This helps reinforce the value of learning, and it's important to the business. Why is this emphasis on strategic training important? Companies are in the business to make money, and every business function is under pressure to show how it contributes to business success, or else it faces spending cuts and even outsourcing. To contribute to a company's success, training activities should help the company achieve its business strategy. A business strategy is a plan that integrates the company's goals, policies, and actions. The strategy influences how the company uses physical capital, like plants, technology, and equipment, financial capital, like assets, cash, and revenues, and human capital, including employees. The business strategy helps direct the company's activities, production, finance, marketing, and human resources to reach specific goals. The goals are what the company hopes to achieve in the medium and long-term future. There are both direct and indirect links between training and business strategy and goals. Training that helps employees develop the skills needed to perform their jobs directly affects the business. Business strategy has a major impact on the type and amount of training that occurs and whether resources like money, trainers' time, and program development should be devoted to training. Also, strategy influences the type, level, and mix of skills needed in the company. Strategy has a particularly strong influence on determining the following: the amount of training devoted to current or future job skills, the extent to which training is customized for the particular needs of an employee or is developed based on the needs of a team, unit, or division, whether training is restricted to specific groups of employees, such as persons identified as having managerial talent, or open to all employees, and whether training is planned and systematically administered, provided only when problems occur, or developed spontaneously with reaction to what companies and competitors are doing. Traditionally, training has been seen as an event or program designed to develop specific, explicit knowledge and skills. But managers and trainers and human resource professionals have begun to recognize the potential contribution to business goals of knowledge that's based on experience, which is impossible to teach in a training program. And they have been broadened with the role of training to include learning and designing new ways of creating and sharing knowledge. Strategic training and development is critical to business strategy, including identifying business strategy, choosing strategic training and development initiatives that support the strategy, providing training and development activities that support the strategic initiatives, and identifying and collecting metrics to demonstrate the value of training.
So straightforward, yeah. So let me give you a framework of strategic training and development process. So this is the framework here, as you can see. First of all, we scan the external environment. Is that something that's happening out there that's going to influence our company? Then we are going to talk about external environment. So what is the challenges inside that organization that's going to influence our company? So you do the company strategy, you develop the company strategy based on this external environment and internal environment, right? So you do that. So once you have done that, then you come up with the training and development strategy that fit into your company strategy. So your training and development strategy is definitely must be based on your company strategy. That actually will allows you to do a need analysis, which we're going to do after this. Okay. Then based on the need strategies, you're going to come out with the instructional design. Also, we're going to cover. Then we're going to come out with the development plan for each individual vertical employee. And eventually, you evaluate the outcome of the whole training process. So this is overall the rough idea of how training should be seen as a strategic functions rather than just a piecemeal or as and when needed. So in the world, one of the most famous strategic approach towards training is called instructional system design, ISD, or sometimes it's called ID. Okay, so this is generally be accepted as what is this ISD, because it's a very strategic way of developing a training program. A brief introductions, then we straight go into the content of it. Okay, so ISD is a systematic approach towards analysis, remember, yeah, okay, design, development, and implementation project, okay, and evaluations and learning materials and activities. So that means it has got every aspect of approaching who need training, what kind of training that you need, what are the objectives, what are the development of the training, how going to implement the training, and finally, how you going to evaluate the learning. So all that must be covered. And instructional system design, ISD, is the approach towards this. What is the aim for ISD? ISD focus on the learner center, okay, not the teacher center. Yeah, it is based on the learner center. Then it is also focused on the instruction, right instruction to get the right learning outcomes. Okay, so it's about creating a learning experience to support long-term learning. So ISD is all about creating a learning experience, yeah, so that the participants will be taking the long-term learning, not just a short-term. So the world most famous ISD, instruction system design model, is called ADDIE. Okay, ADDIE model. We call the ADDIE model. So ADDIE model basically talks about the 5 steps that you can think of how to design a training program. So what is this ADDIE model is all about? ADDIE model, you're talking about 1970s, yeah. Okay, so within the state of University of Florida, they talk about the university level, but eventually they thought, hey, this is actually bigger than that. Okay, and it was for Army to start with, but later part, we expand the concept of how to design the training program, and we call that as a ADDIE model. Okay, so what is this ADDIE model and how that is going to be useful for organizations and for you, eventually, if you want to become HR, or even if the company is doing training, you can identify what we call a comprehensive model called ADDIE model. So I'm going to play one of the best video on ADDIE model. It's a bit lengthy, but of course, I will share all these videos with you. The key here is that I want you to listen, because once you understand this, we don't have to discuss more. Okay, so ADDIE model of instructional design. Enjoy it, yeah?
Whether you're trying to ace an instructional design interview or just learn more about the field, ADDIE is a great place to start. It will teach you more about what an instructional designer does, and you can also use ADDIE as a foundation for your instructional design process. Whereas ADDIE used to be a very specific set-in-stone process, these days it's really 5 different buckets of tasks that you can pull from as needed for your individual instructional design process. So ADDIE is an acronym. The A stands for analysis, the D stands for design, which refers to instructional design, the other D stands for development, the I is implementation, and the E is evaluation. So let's take a closer look at each of these. So for analysis, this is where you're doing that upfront work. You want to learn more about the problem, your audience, and the solution. So the best place to start with analysis is with a needs assessment. This is where you determine if training is actually going to help solve the problem, because you look into what's causing the problem. So if the problem is being caused by some environmental issues or some kind of software malfunctions and things like that, then throwing training at that problem isn't going to help solve it. So this is probably the most important step in all of instructional design, is conducting a strong needs assessment. Learner analysis also falls under this category. This is where you might conduct user interviews, create user personas, learn more about who your audience is, because then you can design for that specific audience. Job task analysis. This is where you really break down the tasks that make up an individual job. So once you have those tasks outlined really clearly like that, it's much easier to design training to train people in those tasks. Context analyses. This is instructional context and performance context. You want the two to be pretty similar. We're not going to dive super far into that here, but and there are other things that can go into this analysis phase. But again, this is where you're trying to learn about your audience and the problem and the potential solutions. The problem is that analysis is very often overlooked in the modern instructional design environment. How it usually happens is a stakeholder says, we need this training, and then the instructional designer just designs and develops it because of how the culture is at the organization or the company. So while this is probably the most important phase in all of ADDIE, it is unfortunately overlooked a lot. Design. Again, this refers to these specific instructional design tasks. So this is where you would look at the results from the analysis and you would create your learning objectives. You would maybe create a design document, like talking about the findings from the analysis, but also how you're going to use those findings to design this solution. So you would include your objectives. You would talk about how you're using these different science and theories to support this learning goal. This is it's a technical instructional design document. You would also design the storyboard, the script, the facilitator guide. This is where you would actually be writing out the content for the learning solutions. So this, again, more traditional instructional designers, they operate very much in this first realm with these objectives and the writing and the storyboarding. But more often than not, in these modern instructional design roles, you're expected to do this piece and this next piece, which is development. So this is where you take that storyboard and that script and that's, maybe outline of a facilitator guide, and you start developing it into the final products that will be put in front of the audience. So you would take that storyboard and you would develop it in an authoring tool like Storyline or Captivate. You would develop the facilitator guide into this nice, well-organized final guide or document. Maybe if there's a slide deck to go along with that, you would actually develop that slide deck, get it in its final form so that it's ready to go in front of the audience. So again, this is where a lot of modern instructional designers sit. They're right on that design and development phase. We need more of the analysis, and of course we're going to need more evaluation, which comes at the back end. But just for context and so you know what you're getting into, these are the two most common areas that instructional designers work within today. And of course, there are some companies where you're niched into a very specific one of these areas, and obviously that does have its benefits. If you have someone who's really good at analysis, someone else who's really good at design, someone else who's really good at development, having all of those people work together, you can be a very effective team that way. But again, for better or worse, many IDs are expected to do it all. So next up is implementation. So this is where you deliver the learning experience to the audience. It's where you actually roll out the learning program and start getting it in front of people. So most of the time, since a lot of the training and learning products out there are these e-learning packages, you would upload it to a learning management system and enroll the users. The facilitator, if it's a face-to-face or virtual session, the facilitator would deliver this to the live audience. This wouldn't be the instructional designer in most cases. The instructional designer would hand off that facilitator guide and that slide deck, and the facilitator would use it to actually deliver the session during this implementation. So yeah, long story short, the main goal here is to ensure that the program gets rolled out smoothly. So the instructional designer may be one actually uploading things to the learning management system. They may be observing these facilitations and taking notes to think about how the program can be improved. But again, that falls more into this next category, which is evaluation, which is the E here. So Kirkpatrick's model of evaluation, that is very popular and comprehensive approach to evaluation in this field, and I'll do a video on that down the line. But we're really answering these main questions. Do people like the learning experience? This is measuring their reaction to it. Like, are they having a good time? How do they feel about it? Are they learning something? So are they learning new skills or new knowledge based off of this learning experience? That's usually evaluated with assessments, maybe some observation. Next, we want to know, are they applying what they learn to the job? So this is where we would look at like business metrics and key performance metrics to see what people are actually doing on the job. Are they improving because of this learning experience? And finally, is this helping the organization? Like, what kind of organizational results are we seeing here? Are we not just seeing better customer satisfaction rates, but are we seeing more sales or better customer retention? Those are the type of things we dive into with evaluation. So that is ADDIE in a nutshell. Again, we would be much better off as an industry if we spent as much time on analysis and evaluation as we do on design and development. But again, most instructional designers are expected to do that design and development. If you really like one of these areas and you want to niche down into it.
Okay, the ADDIE model is simple. Okay, again, as I said, I'll give you the full diagram. Also the PowerPoint to you. I'll share after our engagement today. So this is about the 5-phase model of ADDIE. Yeah? Okay, it's about analyzing it. Analyzing means basically we're asking about, okay, who needs training? What training we need? When we need the training? Asking these are the questions called analysis. Who needs training? What training is needed? When he or she needs the training? Asking the right questions. Okay, then whether or not we have got right resources available. Who are our target audience? What is the stakeholders need? These are some of the questions of model. Okay, the next one, you're talking about design. So when you talk about design, this is where we're talking about learning objectives. Okay, alignment with the stakeholders, mapping out the evaluation method. Okay, and create a learning intervention outline, development of communication strategies, and the high-level mapping of learning organization. All that is where the designing part comes in. Okay, and the third one is the development part. So this is where determine what kind of instructional system design that we're going to have. Okay, what kind of evaluation that we're going to have. All that you have to develop right now before you can go into the thing. And what are the delivery method that you're going to have. So once you have settled that part, then you go and implement. So how do you implement? Implementation of communication plan. So how are you going to talk to people? How are you going to get them ready? We call it as a trainee readiness. Okay. What are the physical changes? Okay. What about the delivery method? All that is very, very important to make sure when we implement training, it becomes successful. Of course, the next one will be the evaluation part, which is going to be our final topic of the day later. How do we conduct the evaluations? How do we know that we become successful in evaluation? So I hope this ADDIE model give you a proper instructions, okay, of how to conduct these 5 steps training model. Okay, so what is this instructional designer? So the ADDIE person, right? So ADDIE person basically talks about organizational goals first. They start with organizational goals. They start with the training needs. They also identify who needs what kind of training. So when you talk about this training needs, we must know there are only 2 types of training. Okay, needs in broader sense, only 2 types of training. Number 1, we're talking about deficiency needs. So that means your desire, what do you want the level of performance from your employees? Then how much actually they are performing. So let's say you want 8 out of 10, they are at 5 out of 10. So that means there's a -3. So the -3 is what we call as a deficiency need. Or maybe they are performing at the high level. You expect them 8 out of 10 level. They are performing 8 out of 10 level. That means they are very, very good. But we worry with the AI coming in, 8 out of 10 is not enough. So you expect them to acquire new skills. That one, what we call as a change needs. So number one, they are not good enough. Then we need to up their skill. Number two, they are good enough, but maybe it's not good enough for the future. So we have to learn something new. We call this a reskill. So this is where the upskilling and reskilling, what we call challenges comes in training. But how do we know when we need the training? What is need to be done to identify the assessment of the training? And this will go into 3 levels. Okay. After this, there are notes that I'll provide you, which I will never discuss. I will use only these slides, but I have provided 3 or 4 pages of notes on this later for your consumption. So when I give you the slides after the training, you have to go and read those things. Otherwise, so you can use your ChatGPT and whatnot. But for broader understanding, I'll tell you what exactly this need assessment is. So remember, whenever we talked about training need assessment, we are basically asking 3 questions. Okay, so the 3 questions is, number one, who needs the training? So this is number 1. Okay, who needs the training? And number 2, we're asking what training is needed. That's a number 2 questions. And number 3 questions that we'll be asking here, when is the training needed? You see, these are the 3 questions that one must answer. Who needs the training? What training is needed? And when is the training is needed? We have to identify answers to these questions. Then only you can conduct the training need analysis. So for that, training need analysis must be done at the 3 levels. Okay, I'll later, after the training, also share the link in our WhatsApp group. What is the level? Number 1 is organizational analysis. Right? Number 2 is a task analysis. Number 3 is a person analysis. Let's go one by one. Organizational analysis is the environment, strategies, and resources to determine where to emphasize the training, what the company want to go. Like now, for instance, next week I'm going to go to Institute Latihan Islam Malaysia. So they are talking about AI is coming, but we are not ready. So it's at the higher level, organizational analysis is all about AI for the whole company. But sometimes it's not the whole company only. We talk about the task analysis, the person, okay, the job that are required, or activities and perform in order to determine, okay, you're talking about knowledge, strategies, attitude, okay, that is needed, objective that is needed. So talking about the task, we study as a lecturer, what is the training that a lecturer must attend? That lecturer, not every lecturer, that lecturer must attend. Then we are talking about person analysis. This is at the individual level. So that means every lecturer need to go for that training. I don't have to because I already know what I'm talking about. Or I need this one, even though others have done that, but I have lack of knowledge. So it's always about the training. When you talk about person analysis, it's talking about the training. So training need analysis must be done at the 3 levels. Again, I repeat, I'm not going to talk about this, but I give you the definition. An examination of organization's environment, goals, strategies, performance, and resources to determine what training is needed. Remember, I talked about what training is needed. Then we are talking about the task analysis, the process of determining the training program's content by studying the task and the duties of the job involved. So now we study about the job. So in order to perform the job, what kind of skills that someone must master? We talked about that, right? And this is where we will do some competency analysis by doing competency profiling, matching what competency is needed for the job, what competencies this person has. So we have to match. If there is a gap, then we conduct the training. Then finally, person analysis. Person analysis is not about everyone. It's about you. You, okay, a particular person, do you need anything specific or not for you to learn? Maybe some people, they already know this, but you don't know. So what is the specific knowledge that one must master? So this is where the training need analysis is so very important. Without having a proper training need analysis, we cannot successful by conducting the right training for the right people at the right time. So that's a goal. Training need analysis at 3 levels: organization, task, sometimes they call it a job level, or person level. Very, very important. So that brings us to our next discussions. Okay. So next discussions, yeah, we already got a TNA. How are you going to design, develop, and implement the training program? What are the delivery method that is needed for this one? So these are very, very quick. Okay. Choosing the right training method depends on what we call as the knowledge, skills, attitude, and objective that somebody must learn, right? So this is where the key delivery method must come. Because sometimes we fail or we choose the wrong delivery method. And they fail because we're using one way of conducting the training. That's the key. This one I took it from the textbook. So they are talking about the training methods as well as the learning outcome, which is better. Okay. So of course you can see on the job is the best one. Okay, because you acquire skills. On the job means you acquire skill. Or sometimes special assignment. If we specifically give you something, so you learn a lot. That's very important as well. Internship, as you can see, is very, very clear as well. Games, simulation games. I'm one of my favorite of during my training is simulation games. E-learning, okay, through LMS learning management system platform can be very useful for towards skills mastery. All right. Behavior modeling, my favorite as well. I put through people understanding their gap and also take them into acquiring new skills. Role playing are definitely one of the best training methodology out there. Coaching and feedback, of course. Okay. Bring the best out of the participants. Case studies, okay, like what you're going to do next week is going to be very, very useful. Remember, next week case study is going to be on training. Yeah, I'll give you some hint for preparations. Seminar conferences, not so good because they only talk about the theories and whatnot. There's lack of interactions. So you're going to learn about the conceptual part of it, not the application part of it. Blended learning also can be good, but again, blended learning is about the responsibility of the trainee to master. So the lack of contribution by the teacher or by the trainer is going to be very, very evident here. Classroom lecture, like what we are doing, is actually not good. Okay. Particularly when there's no participation from you, it's going to be one way, right? But because you are studying this as one of the module, so I got no choice to conduct this as Zoom one way, right? So if you ask me personally, no, I like to conduct training, even on Zoom. All right, what are the percentage, the impact, okay, of training method, training delivery, and whatnot? Okay, so I will just skip this one. So that brings us to our last topic, right? The last topic is evaluation of training program. Okay, so we started from training, need a strategic approach. Then we went into what you call as the implementing the training, designing and developing and implementing the training. Then how do we know we are successful? Okay, so this is what you call as the evaluation of training program. Okay, so you can evaluate based on whether the participants enjoy or not, okay, whatnot, okay. So if you all as I mentioned, I just came back from here in our group. Okay, let me share something in our group, WhatsApp group, why it is very important. Okay, albums. Hold on, yeah, I'm looking into these master classes. I'll share something for you. Where is it? Hold on. I'll share it in our group for you all to understand why it is important to have this particular evaluation. Hold on. I got it here. Where is it? Sometimes when we look for it, you are unable to find it, right? Okay. I'm almost closing down the folder. I had a coaching program in Singapore. I just came back, as you all can see. Okay. Here it is. One of my best I put it in our WhatsApp group, yeah. So that evaluation is so very important for this company who engage me. So y'all can check in your WhatsApp. This is my recent evaluations for my what you call senior manager from Mauritius. Okay, he is the deputy CEO of the company in Mauritius, and he had a 1 week engagement with me, coaching engagement. Then he gave us this evaluation, as I shared with you. Okay, why this is important? See, based on this, of course, he gave a very good evaluation. But let's say if something was missing there, so that will be very useful information for me to design my training proper, and also at the same time for the companies to re-evaluate the content that we are providing. So it's very, very important to have evaluation program at end of every training. What are we going to evaluate? How they reacted. Of course, in the sample that I gave you, we all know how we react. What are the amount of learning required? But most important, if you ask me, what are the behavioral changes that we must focus? What are the behavioral changes? Because if they don't have a behavioral changes, we cannot measure return on investment. So the world famous training evaluation is called Kirkpatrick, yeah? With Donald Kirkpatrick. I'll just type the name here. Donald Kirkpatrick. Okay, model of evaluation. So please Google out this one if you want to know more about evaluation. However, I will play an interesting video on this Donald Kirkpatrick of evaluation, which is going to be very, very useful for your own understanding on how training will be evaluated or should be evaluated. So enjoy the training, enjoy the video. After that, I will do the debriefing. Okay.
If you're trying to become an instructional designer or evaluate a training program, it's a great idea to learn more about the Kirkpatrick model of evaluation. So the Kirkpatrick model of evaluation was developed all the way back in the 1950s by Donald Kirkpatrick himself. Since then, it has hands down become probably the most popular model for training evaluation. So again, whether you're just learning about the field or if you want to start implementing this model to evaluate your own programs, this is a very, very good place to start. So let's dive into it. The Kirkpatrick model is made up of these 4 levels of training evaluation. So as we move down this list, so it starts with level 1, the reaction, then learning, then behavior, then results. As we work our way down, the levels become increasingly difficult to evaluate, but also increasingly valuable for us to conduct those evaluations. So we're just going to go through each of these levels in order to make sure you know what each of them consists of. So the first one is reaction. How are people reacting to the experience? So what we're really measuring at this point is the overall satisfaction and engagement. So you might see questions, how satisfied are you with this experience? Would you recommend this experience to a friend? Were you engaged? And some of these things can also be measured by the facilitator or an observer. But most commonly, this is measured via a survey. So at the end of the course, you take a survey, you ask you questions about how satisfied you are, how relevant what you feel what you learned is to your job. And this can also be done in interviews and focus groups. But again, surveys are definitely the most common way to measure reaction data. So level 2, this is where we're actually measuring the learning. So are these people learning new knowledge, new skills, or new attitudes? That's the big question for level 2. And the most common ways to measure this are with quizzes or tests. So, a pre-test, post-test, or little knowledge checks throughout an experience. But also interviews, focus groups, discussions, observations, and the list goes on. You can have people give presentations and you can evaluate how well they do there to determine whether or not they learned something. But you get the idea. This is where most learning professionals stop. So in the field, instructional designers in the space of learning and development, most of the evaluation is, let's give people a survey at the end of the experience to see if they liked it, and let's give them a test to see if they scored at least 90% and learned something. So those are, that is a way to address level 1 and level 2, but where things start getting really valuable and interesting are at level 3. So this is behavior. We want to know, are people performing these critical tasks that we identified? Are they actually behaving differently on the job now that we taught them these new knowledge, skills, or attitudes? So are they using what they learned on the job? That's the big question for level 3. And again, you can use surveys for this. Probably not the most effective method, but you can imagine, if you're surveying people's managers and asking them about how their employees are performing, you might be able to get some valuable data about how the employees are performing differently. Observation, though, is a common way. The managers would be observing the employees to see if they're using those new skills or that new knowledge. Work reviews, again, you want to see if these new skills were implemented. And you can look at KPIs to see things like, if you're working at a call center and you want to teach people to use screen sharing on their calls, you would look at that screen sharing key performance indicator to see, are people actually using this new skill? So again, this is like the gray area for a lot of instructional designers. It's not very common to actually get into this and see, are people performing differently? But this is very important and valuable to know. Because once you know whether or not people are performing differently, then you can move into level 4, which is where you see, are we seeing the desired results from this intervention that we designed and developed? So are we actually seeing results for the business? So this is where we're looking at actual business and sales metrics. So we're not just looking at, are people screen sharing, but are people providing a better customer experience? Are we seeing higher customer satisfaction ratings? And is that leading to more sales or a better customer retention rate? So again, this is obviously like gold status, what you want to be measuring when you're using so much time and resources and effort to designing these big training programs. You want to determine whether or not they're actually producing a return for the business and helping the business succeed overall, not just Are people learning something and do they like what they learned? Because, you know, that's one thing, but connecting that to the business is a completely different piece. So obviously you can't just design a training program, put it out there, and then start thinking, okay, now how am I going to evaluate this thing? I mean, you can probably try piecing that together, but it won't be extremely effective. So most of the hard work for evaluation comes up front in the planning phase. So let's look at how you might plan to use, how you might plan to evaluate your learning experience. So the first question you have to ask yourself is, which results are we trying to achieve here? What are we trying to do for the business? Are we trying to reduce that? Are we trying to increase that customer retention rate? Are we trying to reduce the number of, are we trying to reduce the number of employees who quit? So increase employee retention. Are we just trying to increase sales? You get the idea. And you see this first bullet, the very first question we want to ask ourselves, which results do we want to achieve for the business? That lines up with level 4 evaluation. Okay, so take note of that. Next, we need to ask, what do people need to do differently to achieve those results? So keyword, what do people need to do differently? What behaviors do we want to see? And you'll see this second question lines up with level 3 behavior evaluation. So we're working our way backwards through these levels to plan our learning program or our intervention. So now we might ask, okay, what knowledge and skills do these people need to do these things differently? So again, we're moving into level 2. And then finally, how do we design an attractive intervention so that people will want to engage with it and acquire those knowledge and skills that they need? So just to jump ahead here, you see, we're basically, you want to start with level 4 when you're planning an experience like this. We don't start, oh, how am I going to design something that people like? Oh, how will I help them learn something? That's a counterproductive way to go about this. When we're actually trying to produce results for an organization, we need to start with those results in mind and orient all of the rest of our efforts to producing those results. So this is a more useful way to think about the Kirkpatrick model just from a planning perspective. Again, level 3 and level 4, not many people venture into that area, but that is where you will see, that's where you'll get the most value out of your evaluation efforts, because it will actually help you determine whether or not your training program or intervention was worthwhile in the first place. So again, it is always an iterative process. So evaluation doesn't have to come at the end of your experience. If you're finding as you go that what your efforts aren't leading to these changed behaviors or these results, you can always adjust at any point, recalibrate, and use this data to keep you on the right track. So I hope that this was helpful. If you have any questions, drop a comment below. This book right here, Kirkpatrick's 4 Levels of Training Evaluation by James and Wendy Kirkpatrick, is a great read if you want to dive deeper into training evaluation and how Kirkpatrick's model is implemented at organizations today. Definitely check out this book.
I hope that video was very helpful earlier. Let's look into the summary of it. Okay, thank you, Alia, for the response. Let me show you the presentation. Okay, let's go into our video now. Okay, very useful, what do you call video, I definitely know that. Complete
if you're trying.
Okay, so this is in summary. Okay, the 4 levels of evaluations. Okay, that's a level 1. We are talking about evaluate the reactions. Okay, so what do you mean by that? Measure the satisfactions of the trainees. Okay, and a training program. So how do we do that? Maybe at this level, we'll just go into satisfaction questionnaire. Okay, whether you liked the training or not, how it was useful, whether the trainer is ready or not. So these are the level 1, very basic level, reaction level. Then you go into the level 2. Level 2 is, we are talking about measuring the actual, knowledge that you must learn. Okay, so this is where we go into evaluate learning, not reactions, but evaluate learning. And this is where probably sometimes we'll have a pop quiz and whatnot. Okay, so written test, performance test, end of the day, we ask you to repeat what I was teach you. So this will be a good level. And then you're talking about level 3 and level 4. Level 3 is evaluate the behavior. Okay, our trainee is behaving differently on the job after training and whatnot. Then the level, this is where the actual success of the training coming in, because they say training, if you don't change, that means you never learn. If you don't change, you never learn. So it's as simple as that. So we want to know more about the impact of the training by observing their what we call change of behavior. But sometimes change of behavior alone is not enough. We want to go to the next level. The next level is where we are talking about the actual result of the training, the actual benefit, actual ROTI, remember, return on training investment of the training that is needed, the company profit, the cost reduction, higher productivity, increased quality, all that is actually is the evidence of the training was very useful, right? How do we measure? We measure by lower accident in the workplace, quality increase, productivity increase, turnover less, high morale, cost of the production is low, profit goes up. So you can have so many indicators of the success. I took this model from the internet. So this is where it's talk about the impact at the highest level. Okay, impact basically means the result of the training. Of course, that only possible if you are talking about the behavior must change. With that behavior change, how do behavior change? We talk about the learning, what they have learned in order to change the behavior where it will bring about the impact in the organization. But even before they go into the learning part, we talk about whether or not the trainee enjoyed the training session at the reaction level. So if and when you plan your evaluation at these 4 levels, definitely, you can deliver an impactful training. Example that I showed you in our WhatsApp earlier. So we plan meticulously this training program so that they will learn and they will bring the benefit to the organization. Okay, folks. Okay, as I promised, we come to the end of our content part of it. Okay, so this is where our PowerPoint presentation is completed. I hope I've covered again short period of time. Otherwise, it will be a lengthy. So what will happen is next week when we meet, we will have the first hour for our assessment on case studies on training. I'll give you tips. What are the areas that you should be focusing on? So let me reiterate. We receive complaints about students using mobile devices to check into ChatGPT and whatnot to answer the question. So this time it will never happen because formally it was reported. Yeah. So what will happen after this? During our next assessment, it will be zero access to your devices. Our head of department, head of program already said so. Okay, Puan Saidatul already mentioned zero. So it's going to be case study. However, I will allow you work as a pair. I already mentioned. So choose one person to work with. So I'll give you the case. You read the case. You discuss the questions with your pair, but answer separately. You must answer separately. You cannot answer the same thing, but you're allowed to work as a pair to discuss the case. Then you answer the question, and the questions are all on training and development. Okay, any questions on the assessment? Go ahead and you can ask me now, people, if you have any questions, assessment on our next meeting, not next week, our next meeting. Okay, any questions on assessment? It's going to carry 10%, Okay, you can get 10% from me just by answering that training and development assessment next week or next session. Any questions, people? No questions? All clear? So I hope today's discussion was very useful for you. So we'll be as I mentioned, not necessarily until 12 o'clock at 11:30. Yes, we had a very short break just now. We have covered this, also qualified. So can I request you all to switch on the camera so that I can record the picture as an evidence of your attendance? Okay. Thank you very much. This is cool. All right. I'm happy that you all choose to stay here long. Okay. Thank you. Anyone else is coming or all of it? Okay. Zahira macam pilot, Zahira. Good, good, good. All right, folks. Thank you very much for attending. A smile. Give me, I'm going to take a picture of you all as an evidence. Okay. Well, is there anyone else coming? Okay, Alia is here. Okay. Ren is here. Okay, that's enough. Oh, who else is coming? Okay, KE is coming. Good. Easy. I think that's about it. Oh, y'all give me a best smile. Okay. Oh, there Guan is here as well. The picture is taken. So later I can share the picture as well to you all. Let's hold on. I got to save this one. Attendance. Okay. So why don't you all use the chat box now to sign your attendance this time? Maybe can. Let me put that title first. Just okay. MGM5120. Okay, attendance. Attendance and 23rd August. Okay, just type in your metric number and your name. Then once you're done, then you can exit our class for today. Thank you very much. I appreciate your presence. Wish you all a wonderful weekend. And also thank you for your sacrifices of the weekend. Thanks. Yep, cool. So you're done that. Once you sign in your attendance, then you may leave. Thank you, all of you. Thanks, Alia. Bye-bye. Okay, bye-bye, Ron. Okay, bye-bye, Zeng. Take care. Okay, cool. Okay, we're done. All of you, most of you. Is there a few of you are still here but didn't sign out? Okay. Guan, Pojale, Nur Aina, then you want to sign in, or I can close the session today. Okay, folks, it's 11:30. We started the sessions at 9 o'clock, and we had a very short, tea break. Only one break, about 15 minutes. Then we have ended the session successfully on the topic of MGM 5120, Strategic Human Resource Management and Organizational Behavior. And today's topic was Human Resource Training. I will share this recording once I upload into my YouTube. Thank you very much and wish you all a wonderful weekend.